Well, Mr. Schmidt and everybody out there, we are going to discuss is there value in missionary work, and what are the cons of various missionary work around the country, around the globe? Uh, this may seem somewhat controversial to some of you, and it's with most topics. You need to really examine what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it, and uh, what are the not only cost benefit ratios, but what is the actual thing that you're doing, and what is your goal, and are your goals being met? There are a lot of depth to this discussion on, and I really started thinking about missionary work when one of my siblings every year goes on a mission to Honduras. And then I had later, I think this was a year or 2 years ago, that a friend of mine, their children would go to Guatemala, and they would work in missionary type stuff. And I started thinking about it and started researching exactly what they were doing and what other missionary work is around the world. And on the surface, it seems great. Like, it's hard to find, like, if you are living in the outskirts of Guatemala City, which is a beautiful country, by the way, and I want to reach out to you. For some reason, I chose that region, and I want to raise money within the church or within whatever organization, and go help feed you, go help your housing, go help and try to convert you into whatever my belief system is, which I think is a fundamental bad idea. But what happens, this was something that was asked to me, well, there's nothing wrong with that. We're sending these kids down. It's a good experience for these kids to be able to go down and do missionary work, to promote Jesus, and to promote this, and to help them, give them money for clothes, and give them money for help build their housing and dig water wells and all these sorts of things. But they're only down there for a week or two, and they rotate these people in and out. And the first thing that I thought of was, there has to be people in the world that have been going on these missions that start to discover how problematic it is. And so I started doing research into seeing if I could find any of these people, and I was able to. There's quite a few of them, and that have, and I applaud them, trying to work on better ways to make what they're doing more efficient and better. Because you run into a problem. Let's say you have a bunch of kids in this village, and all of a sudden you are sending other 14, 15, 16, 20-year-old kids down to whatever country, and you're passing out money and food and preaching whatever gospel you believe in to these people. Well, the kids go away going, oh, I made a difference. But the kids that are left there, all they see is a different rotation of people coming in. They start to become detached. They start to think, oh, these are fly-by-night people coming in. And then you start to have a problem of, this is a real problem where, we send people down, we dig them water wells, different things break, they don't know how to operate it. Well, they just wait. They don't take the initiative to fix it and do things on their own, because they know the next group of people is coming in to do it all for them. So then, instead of teaching them how to fish, we're just providing the fish. It's a quagmire that I think a lot of people don't think about the adverse effects of those type of programs.
I would like to hit on a point that you said, that these kids come in, they feel good about themselves. I think the whole setup of the way missions are set now is a selfish idea, because you're going to send those kids down there so they feel good about themselves. Or when your sibling goes down there to build that house, he's not really doing it for them. He's going to feel good about himself, that, hey, look, I made a difference. It's a completely selfish act. Now, does that make it bad? I think, yes, it can, because you're really not doing anything for those people. When you brought up the water well pumps, think about when you go to make a good big purchase for yourself. Most people spend the time and they research and they try to get the best deal for their money with the best quality. Well, when you said the water pumps, a lot of those water pumps are made in factories in India or Indonesia that have really poor quality control. So the thought of giving them a water pump sounds like a good idea, but you're really just getting them the cheapest water pump with the cheapest manufacturing that you can. So the people can't even rebuild the parts on the water pump, even if they had to know how to do it, because in some of these villages, they don't have Federal Express coming by to drop off parts from India for their water well. Then secondly, you get into another problem of digging and drilling water wells. It's not as simple as it may sound. If the well's not exactly straight down, it's a little bit at an angle, well, it's going to shorten the life of the pump. So we have a problem of they're not experts going in there to do it. I mean, you've worked in oil wells and had oil properties the entirety of your life. Drilling is not exactly a simple thing.
No, drilling is not simple at all. But I think there are adverse effects that people don't take into consideration because they feel like they're do-gooders. And the old adage is an old adage for a reason. There is no good deed that goes unpunished, and there's no, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Those didn't come about because they are not true. They came about because they are true. And what do you do? Like Peru, for example, has thousands of year tradition of shamanism and ayahuasca and different things that help you explore who you are in your mind and different levels of consciousness. Well, we send in with our arrogance into these remote places, telling them this is your thousands of year practice that has helped you be better, peaceful people. And well, that's wrong. No, you need to believe in my Jesus, or you need to believe in this form of religion or whatever. And we're going to force feed you that, or we're not going to help you get this water. We're not going to help you get these clothes if you don't subscribe to our way of thinking. And then all of a sudden we start destroying valuable insights into human nature and into good, helpful practices on how to be better people because of our arrogance.
Well, you can look at through South America, talking about force feeding religion. The Catholic Church had huge campaigns down there. And it wasn't necessarily force feeding religion. It was either you subscribe to our religion or we don't feed you.
Or we kill you.
Yeah. It was, if you want to eat, this is how you eat. And another thing, when you go on these mission trips, they make a spectacle out of poverty. They want to keep, in most situations, these people poor, so they keep getting donations in. They can't really ever improve it. So if you look at a lot of these places, say orphanages are a great example. People go down to orphanages and they want to make a difference. They want to make it better. Think, well, how long has this charity been in business, and how long has this orphanage been here? And if it's been here for 5-10 years, why are the conditions still not any better?
Well, it goes into the whole perpetual situation of some of these NGOs, non-governmental organizations that are sponsored by private industry and governments and churches and all these other private institutions. You don't want to actually fix the problem. You want to make it marginally better so you can keep the administrative staff, so you can keep all these things, so you can make these nice pamphlets and brochures to pass out to people to see all the great and good things that you're doing. And what you are doing is displacing the beliefs that have been held with these people. And in some cases, these beliefs have a good, valuable purpose for all of humanity. And we're trying to squash that through making them believe in something that is foreign to them. It's not different than, say, the Spanish coming to the New World and going into South America and totally wiping out the Mayans, just wiping out ancient civilizations, and then giving the survivors, you have a choice. You can either be Catholic or we're killing you. Without the infiltration and the demolishing their beliefs, well, man, the world would be a lot different place, and there would be a lot richer fabric of things to explore and try to understand in the physical and human condition. But religion itself was responsible for squashing time-honored traditions that really helped and benefited people that were fine in how they lived. There was nothing wrong with how they lived. They were all, not all, I mean, of course they had their different wars and tribal disputes and all these sorts of things, but vast majority of these people lived
peaceably.
Yeah, and enjoyed themselves.
Well, I mean, just the whole aspect of religions like the Catholic Church going in there and destroying. Think about how many medicines and ways of life that were completely and utterly destroyed because they said, well, that's witchcraft.
Sure, and that is another thing. We're going in with our Americana and our force feeding these people, oh, well, we're going to bring you these medicines, and we distract and pull away their natural inclination, because it's what we've talked about in another video. You know, they believe what they believe because their mom and daddy told them to, and they are spending and have spent for generations figuring out, oh, this plant helps me with inflammation. This plant helps me with arthritis. This plant helps with this or that. And they understood that, and they were healthy and happy. And what we're doing is going in there and replacing that with some foreign belief, and not only foreign religious beliefs, but a totally foreign way of taking care of their body with foreign medicines from big pharma. And then what do we lose as humanity when we start taking these people who do understand the benefits of different plants and herbs, how it helps the lifespan, helps with anxiety, helps with all these other things? Well, we destroy them. We make them bad. All of a sudden, you take that young generation that we're going to see, and you change their mindset. So now in 20 years, 40 years, all of these people that were relying on Mother Earth and the benefits derived from her, well, we're making, no, you need to subscribe to Big Pharma's ideas. You need to subscribe to big mega church ideas. You need to subscribe to this because this is what's good for you. And we're stealing and robbing their who and what they are and their benefit to the world.
Yes, that we are. Now, one thing that you can do if you do want to go to those places, instead of going to one of these mission trips or vacation tourism where you build houses, just go into the local communities and support them. Support those medicine people, support those people that make blankets, support and spend your money in the community. Don't try to change the community. Go and experience the community. It'll be much better for you because you'll get a real experience of the country and the culture and might learn something about yourself instead of saying that my way's right, so do it this way. And well, you'll help them out too.
That's a really good point that you're going on, because you can take Haiti, for example. We have so many NGOs in Haiti that you have businesses that are employing people. They are learning how to fish for themselves. They're learning how to take care of themselves. And what has happened, a perfect example, there was a guy that he created a solar company. He was poor, he scratched around and got enough money to start this little factory, and that was the size of a small bedroom. And he started to grow that, and he was making solar lights for the roads, for people's yards, for, just solar lights that were beneficial in a whole big area. Well, these mega churches and other NGOs, they started coming in, and, well, what'd they do? They started giving away for free solar lights. Instead of having local garment manufacturers making jeans and shirts and all these sorts of things, well, we come down and flood them with the United States hand-me-downs or shirts that we had created and made in Indonesia for these people. So we're destroying the fabric of their economic system And we don't even take that into consideration. We go down there like Santa Claus with big bags of goodies. Oh, look, we're coming to help. And then all of a sudden, this guy that has now 30 employees, he's having to let everybody go because now these do-gooders come down and give everybody solar lights. Whenever he was already providing that service and doing it, he's creating jobs. The trickle effect goes on forever, and now you're stealing all that from these people.
You're stealing it, and you're really dumping unwanted goods, trash, into those communities in most places. Let's take India, for example, on a mention of trash. So if you go to India, people tell you it's dirty, it's filthy, it's nasty. Well, a lot of that is because they have a lot of trash that's been on the ground. What happens, these do-gooder Christian organizations go down and they decide to feed these people in prepackaged plastic goods, or they give them plastic. Well, all throughout their civilization, they've used goods that come from the earth. So when they're done with them, they throw it on the ground, and it goes back into the earth, and it makes a better sustainable system to them. So you throw paper on the ground, it goes back in the ground, that nourishes the earth. Well, plastic doesn't do that. So we go to India now and we think, oh, these people are so dirty and nasty, why wouldn't they want to build themselves up? Well, that's not where the problem even takes place. It's these do-gooders that come into these communities and dump all these unwanted goods onto them. Well, the poor people, they're not educated in why this is bad for the earth if I throw it down. Because for generations, okay, I'm done with this banana peel. It's going to go back in the earth and make it better. Well, it accumulates more and more and more, and you're left with this huge trash in the society because the people throwing it down thought, oh, well, it's going to be good. And now it's a problem, because it's a problem for them, it's an eyesore, and it's a problem for the natural earth. The birds get caught in the little bottle caps. I mean, it's a huge problem because people thought they were doing good by dumping their unwanted goods on these people. And it turns out to be a huge problem for everybody.
It's a problem all the way around, because whenever you start giving people stuff
with no information,
which is mostly what happens, you have people, we have a problem in the United States of being overly arrogant, that we think what we do is always right 100% of the time. Go us, these people live horrible lives. We don't even know what their lives are. So what if some of them are poor? Does that mean they are actually living a less of a quality life than us? I would have to say these shamans that live in Peru and different parts of South and Central America have a much higher quality of life than most Americans, because they are actively pursuing their own spiritual nature. They're actively engaging with the physical universe of Mother Earth. They have their hands in the soil. They're actually using different plants for different things. They understand and feel life. And we're going down there and robbing them of those things, directly stealing it from them.
Yeah, because they don't have a flat screen TV with 300 channels doesn't mean that they have a poor status of life.
No, and because their feet are dirty, because they enjoy the resonance from the earth, then, we need to go make sure we go take them shoes that were built in some slave factory in Asia.
Instead of propping up their own economy by finding someone that wants to do that job and helping them and build them and employees and starting it from the ground up. They're just dumping it on there. And dumping it on there destroys the local economy for a start. Then you have all this trash buildup, like I mentioned earlier. And again, you've given the people fish instead of taught them how to fish.
It's a big problem in that we need to reevaluate how we do things when we go to invade the economies and the hearts and minds of these other people. Because if we doing this as we have been doing for so long, and the main reason for us to do what we've been doing is because it either gives us some sort of false sense of being a do-gooder, and you never recognize your ill intent, especially these young children going to try to make friends with all these village kids and playing with them. They never take into account, once they leave, the adverse effects of them being transient figures.
Well, think about the psychological effect on the kids that see the revolving door. Children are shy by nature. They should be shy. It's a defense mechanism to keep them close to their parents and out of harm's way. When you drop into these villages, the kids run up to you. That's bad. That's not the way humans are designed to be. Right there should give you a hint. Hey, if I go to see somebody in the States, even if it's a family member, their 2 or 3 year old shies away from me, or their 6 or 7 year old, they don't say much. You go to those countries and they swarm you.
Yeah, because they're all expecting something for nothing.
Yeah, even if they weren't expecting something for nothing, they've got trained by their parents that says, hey, these people are going to do X and X for us, and we need you to be this way.
That's exactly right. And well, it's one of those things that we harp on a lot. Why do you believe what you believe? Why do you act a certain way? Why is this a good or bad thing? We have to, as critical thinking humans, look at what we are doing and what are the real benefits and the real cons of our actions, without just the emotional prop, the setup of, oh, this feels good to me. When we don't take in consideration, is a perfect example is Haiti, and then you got the Dominican Republic,
which is on the
same island, and they are thriving and they do really well. And then this imaginary border straight in the center of the island, and these people are all destitute. One, Dominican Republic doesn't allow all these non-GMOs and all these charitable organizations into their country, not even we're close to the extent as Haiti does. Haiti got caught in the trap. So once you get spit in that cycle and everything starts coming in for free, and stuff you don't even need, where all these other businesses, they go out, all the employees that they have, all doing things for themselves and figuring out and building their own sustainable community, and the division of labor that goes along with that, you create a society of, yeah, here you go, can I have something else? It's just not the way it's not the way human nature should be if we want the individual to learn how to be the best he can be for himself.
No, again, and if you want to change that, when you go to those places, you support the local farmers, you support the local textile industries instead of dumping your unwanted shirts on them that says, whatever it says, last year's shirt. Go support those people, buy their goods, and that helps them out more than any unwanted t-shirt.
Sure, and you can go like in some of these colonial towns in Guatemala, like Antigua is a perfect example. They have these fine, they make all sorts of things. They're making rugs, they're making all sorts of garments right there in front of you. And those people pride themselves on the quality of what they're doing. And well, that's what you should support, because they have pride in what they're doing. This is their local thing. This is coming from their local ingredients, and they have their heart and soul and their effort into that. And buying from them helps not only continue those traditions, but it allows them to take care of themselves without the need for these NGOs and mega churches and mega foundations to go in and destroy the way of life for them.
Yeah, because they don't need that. Again, if you want to help, really help them, buy their goods. Don't give them things. Most people don't want to be given things unless they're in that trap. They want to work for what they got because it means more to them. They'll take pride in their own communities, and they take pride in their goods and services that they provide.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I see you got a whole page of notes over there, Mr. Schmidt. What else you got to talk about on this?
One of the big things, like we were talking about water wells, I would like to get a little bit more in depth in that, because we talk about when you go into a place, how to make it better. A lot of the world needs good, clean water. But what happens when we go into these communities? A lot of times we want to give them medicines for things that they don't even have an ailment for. We need to give them all these vaccinations that don't do any good. Like, you can look at the statistics in their own community of the illness and what's happened to them. It's done them no good. You could just give them good, clean water and it would solve most of their problems. But how do you do that? You got to go in and find someone that wants to be a good local contractor that wants to learn and do and provide for their village. Instead of giving them a cheap water pump that's going to break in a month or 2 months or a year because it makes you feel good, and then it's just a standing ornament in a community. Hey, look, there's that water pump that those do-gooders gave us that worked that's no good. So you educate the populace. You teach them proper drilling methods where they can drill good, clean, accurate holes. You give them access to other tools. Well, when this breaks, this is how you fix it. You know, if this goes down, this is how you repair this. If you don't drill this well in this certain area, well, it's not going to work. And then you provide them with good equipment, good pumps that they can go and fix, not just something that's going to have to be thrown away. They need pumps that can be fixed. Then they need an industry that you can help support where they can make some of their own goods. And then once that's started, then you get this community to be self-sufficient. Again, you're teaching them to fish. You're going in and giving them information and knowledge, not just stuff.
You touched on something to make them be self-sufficient. See, that's the issue. We don't want, I say we, these mega donors, these mega church facilities, these major NGOs, they don't want to fix the problem.
No, they don't want to fix the problem. But if you're people like us, or if you're contemplating going on one of these volunteer tourism or a missionary, really think, well, what is going to be the most good? If you have a certain, again, say you're in Knollfield and you know how to drill and you want to really provide and give your time and labor to do those things, well, find out where you and your skill set can be best applied. If you have a factory and you know how to make textiles and you see somebody or you find out a place that wants to do that, help them out. You can maybe cut some steps out in their manufacturing process. You can teach them how to do it better, teach them how to do it faster. You can teach them how to grow their business and get those things out there instead of, again, just dumping unwanted goods onto them. Because all these things are set up to that you go home and you feel this warm, fuzzy feeling inside. Hey guys, I went down to Guatemala and I provided these people with this, and then you share it on your Instagram page. That's what it's meant for. It's not really meant to help people. It's so that you feel good about yourself.
And you get to perpetuate the annual incomes of the administrative staffs from those churches and from those NGOs and all these other.
Because most of your dollars that are spent are not spent the way you think they are. They're spent for advertising, they're spent for this, or they're spent for some, it's just really pointless. None of your dollars actually go. And there's also a couple of websites, there's charities that monitor other charities for doing well. There's a Give Well and Charity Navigator. They'll show you where most of your tax dollars, or not tax dollars, most of your dollars are, well, yeah, sometimes these are tax dollars, where those charities are actually spending the money. Like one of the biggest charities in the UK is a donkey conservatory. They make more than any of the other charities. Why? Because it feels good. You can go give your donkey, some hay or this, and it feels good. That's what people do it for.
Well, there's a whole series of things that it goes back to the whole basic fundamental reason why we are here, why we are exploring these things, not only for ourselves, but have a broader conversation with the people that are watching and for the people that come here to our organization, so that when we do things, when we think a certain way, that we are cognizant of everything that actually, as much as you can. I mean, you're always not going to have, sometimes you're not going to think of everything, but you do want to think about the pros and the cons in a big way. And is my effort in this area causing more harm than good? Or is it a wash? If it's a wash, then why do it? And if I'm causing harm, then obviously don't do it. We don't think that way here. And you have these PR campaigns for these organizations that make it so warm and fuzzy that it's, you feel compelled, like your heart reaches out. You're like, oh God, I want to help that baby. I want to, I want to help that whatever. And then whenever it comes right down to it, you're really not helping to the extent that you thought you were. Those organizations are causing more harm than good. They're destroying economies. They're destroying people's ability to figure things out on their own. And that is all a travesty. You're stealing away the thousands of years of human evolution and human thought process of learning how to love and respect the different things in Earth that are available to us for health reasons. We're just destroying those things.
Completely and utterly destroy them. Another thing I would like to hit on while we're talking about charities or missionary trips, because a lot of people just give money to charities thinking that throwing money at a problem will fix it. Throwing money at a problem rarely fixes anything. If we just take the United States, for example, in 1965, LBJ declared a war on poverty. Since then, we've spent $20 trillion on programs. And what difference has it made? We've had about a 1% difference in the poverty rate for $20 trillion.
You could have just given the money to everybody.
Yeah, well,
it would have worked out even better.
It would have worked out a lot better. I mean, so again, throwing money at a problem isn't going to work. If you want to make a difference, you go to those places and you spend money with the local economy. You buy goods and services. You take their little taxis. You don't get an Uber. You stay at a boutique hotel. You don't stay at the Best Western or Holiday Inn. You stay at a local place. You don't go eat at Arby's or Taco Bell when you're there. You go eat off the food from the streets or a street vendor or a local restaurant. That's what you do. Most people, even when they do those tourist places, they think, oh man, I'm doing so good. I'm going to spend some money over here and then let's go get lunch. Well, where do you want to go? Oh, there's a McDonald's. Well, you're just feeding a mass corporation. You're not doing anything for the local economy if you want to help out.
You're doing very little. I mean, of course, there are franchise owners who probably are local, maybe not. I mean, there's all sorts of, the best practice is to always try to find the most local source you possibly can for everything and go to those places if you have a genuine care. Other than that, is there anything else you want to add to this discussion, Mr. Schmidt?
I think that is all my notes on that one right there.
I just think to boil that down, we have to be cognizant of what it is that we're doing on these mission trips, because Haiti is a perfect example of sending various religions into there, causing more harm than good. More NGOs per capita than anywhere on the planet. I believe that statistic is still true. And that is, there's no benefit. You can go there, it's horrible. You have the same island cut in half. One side is prosperous because they don't have those sort of things. The other half is full of them and it's destroyed. It's the perfect example on a grand scale of how inefficient and how barbaric it really is, the things that we're doing in the guise of making someone feel good. Like, oh, I feel so good giving you some money. It's a travesty. So on that note, Mr. Schmidt, we will call that a wrap. Just remember, we are actively working toward getting people to come visit and be a part of our discussion, even join in. We'd even invite people to have discussions on our channel with us. And we are soon going to be on even more outside venues, such as the ones that we're already on, the BitChute and Library. We're working on, we have some videos there, but we are going to have on all the other ones that we can, stretching out as far and as wide as possible, and to protect our own selves to what we're thinking, what we're talking about, what is good, what are our actions, are we being cognizant of plus and minuses with these, with people having to really consider what they say and what they think, and to verbalize that into the world is becoming a problem in many areas. If you don't toe a line and set a certain way of thinking, well, you're being censored all over the globe. So that is one of the reasons why we're going to a lot of these alternative
sources and use.
Yeah, well, they're competitors of the major powers that be. So keep that in mind, and thank you for joining us. And as always, We appreciate it, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good day.